Welcome back to the Brew Crew podcast, everyone. This is Advent Calendar 2024, Episode 1.
Another year's gone by. Another Advent Calendar is here.
Episode 1. This will be great. Well, it's not Episode 1. It's Day 1 because, some have already done theirs. We're doing ours at night. It'll probably be the case most of the time. And today we got North High Falutin. North High Brewing. Falutin is the name, and I guess you're supposed to say probably North High Falutin.
Yep.
For High Falutin. This is what they call a shorty from Barrel House. It is from the tap. They actually bottle it up right there, put a nice little cap on it, and so this is about as fresh as it can get.
That's right. We have no can art with these shorties.
No can art.
And we have no information on the can.
But we do have bottle cap art.
we do
each bottle cap from Barrel House is a little different, and they've got some new ones this year. So I'll do the scan before, while you're saying something, and then we'll do a little review of that. Cool. But North High Falutin. You said you've done a lot of research on this beer.
I did, just because it is a shorty, and we have scant information about it on the can that we would normally get to start talking about. I decided to dive in a little bit. It is a hazy IPA, and I was reading all about it, and it made me think, you know what, this might be a good opportunity for a little sidebar discussion on hops.
Hops, all right.
So we're going to talk about the different IPA styles and hops, and get a little bit more information out there about hops and what they do, what they are, how important they are in the brew making process.
All right.
And we'll dive into the beer, of course.
Of course.
Excited to see this one. I was reading about it, and they were talking about, on North High's site, they were talking about the various different flavors and all that stuff. And I was thinking...
Well, hey, are you going to go into a good, lengthy discussion? Because we should crack open our beers while you do that.
Oh, we should. Let's do it.
Let's do that. Let's get
that started right away.
And we're not waiting. All right.
Yeah.
You're going to use the Luchador, and I'm going to use the Thor's Hammer. Ready? 3, 2, 1. There we are. North High Falutin.
And it begins.
Here we
cheers.
go. Yes, cheers.
Happy Advent Calendar.
Hope everyone had a nice... Sorry to interrupt. You go ahead.
That's all right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, belatedly. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving weekend and holiday. So, this one is actually probably best poured.
All right.
Can you grab me a glass? I should have done this before. Yep. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Now, a lot of people have asked me, hey, I'm all confused about hazies versus juicies versus New England's. What's the difference between them? Are they the same? Are juicies the same as New England IPAs, but hazies are different, or whatever? Hazies are just, and actually the answer is they're all the same. They all describe the same style of IPA. It's a subgrouping of IPAs. They're called hazy because they're hazy, and there's stuff in there that's typically a type of protein that's called trub. That's part of the brewing process. It's normal, it's natural, gets filtered out a lot of times, but in hazies it's not. Okay, so what makes a hazy or a New England IPA or juicy? What makes that different than a regular IPA? And the biggest difference are two things. One, it's heavily dry hopped. And I'm going to get into that in a second, because there's a difference between regular hopping and dry hopping, and why would you do dry hopping, and what does it do, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. Which adds a lot of aroma and flavor characteristics to it. The second thing is it is much lower in bitterness than a regular IPA. So a regular IPA, American IPA, would have an IBU, which is the bitterness, International Bitterness Unit measurement for quantification of bitterness of various different beers. But the average American IPA IBU is between 50 and 70. So 70 for really super West Coast overhop beers, and 50 for some of the lowest ones, right? Well, New England IPAs, juicies, hazies, typically have a much lower IBU factor, and sure enough, I looked on their site, and North High's site, and this one has an IBU of 32, which is actually pretty dang low.
It's pretty low.
An average pale ale in America is 35 to 45 IBUs, so it's actually even kind of below the lowest point of a pale ale. So it's for a reason, because it makes it much more drinkable to the average person. They call it juicier. It has a juicier flavor to it when you lower the bitterness a little bit, and it also has a juicier, fuller flavor because of the dry hop. Okay, so now we'll talk about it. It was made with 3 different kinds of hops. This one was Mosaic,
I'll save it.
It's Mosaic, Cashmere, and what's the last one?
I got you. Let me find it here. Wow, even Beer Advocate doesn't have it. Doesn't have the hops, but I got it here. You can keep going.
All right.
I'll get it.
So, what's remarkable about these is that Mosaic and the one that starts with S that I can't remember now.
Oh, Citra? I mean,
no.
it's you know what it is.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I got it right here.
All right, this is great. We're all just we're a little stalled, but that's okay. Wow, why is it not easy?
I got it. It's Simcoe.
Simcoe, yeah, that was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Apologies.
Tip of my tongue.
So it's Simcoe, and I didn't know that much about the Cashmere, and so I had to look that up as well. But the Mosaic and the Simcoe hops are very, very common. Besides Citra, they're the next 2 most common, most popular hops to use in IPAs. And in fact, those 2 particular hops are only used in IPAs. Cashmere is actually relatively a new hop. It was a crossbreed that Washington State University made in 2013 between Cascade hops, which everybody knows, been around forever, kind of an old staple, and Northern Brewer hops. And they have alpha acid levels of 7 and 9 respectively, which is quite a bit lower than some of the other hops. So they want it, but it also, the combination of the 2 of them gives some aromas that are more citrusy and have a lot more fruit in the nose, as do both Mosaic and Simcoe. So you can kind of see when you're looking at that, there's some mango and melon and citrus associated with the Mosaic. With the Simcoe, it's a little higher alpha acids. I better talk about that in a second. I'll just give it a real quick brief treatment here. Alpha acids are the things in hops that actually provide the bitterness, and they provide aromas, and they provide flavor. So it's a combination of those 3. Hops are also important because in the hop oil themselves, there's a natural preservative that's an antibacterial that helps preserve the beer, prevents bacteria from growing in the beer so you don't get mold in the beer ever and all that sort of stuff. So that's why hops are all good. But those 3 things add to the flavor profile of it, right? The bitterness factor, obviously, and then the aroma and the flavor factors of them. But normally, hops are put into the boiling part of the process, right, during the brewing process, which is kind of the upfront thing. The problem is, you have to leave the hops in for about 45 to 60 minutes, which is about the normal time that beer is boiled or brewed anyway. When you put it in after about 15 minutes or so, all the hops lose whatever aroma they have. And after 20 minutes, they lose all their flavor that they're going to add. Hence the reason for dry hopping. Now, dry hopping is basically throwing in hops after the boiling is done when the fermentation is going on. So it's either in the primary fermentation in the first week or so, or the secondary fermentation in the second week or so. They'll throw those hops in. Those hops are all about, they don't add bitterness. All they're about is adding the aromas and the flavors to it that provide all the goodness. So brewers typically tend to mix all those different hops to get different flavor profiles. And all 3 of these hops that are in there have essence of fruit, citrus, some tropical fruit, that sort of stuff. So that's what this is really aiming for. So we know that, right? And with the alpha acids, by the way, when you see, I don't know if you ever see this, but sometimes on the beers they'll have AA or the alpha acid content. The higher percentage of it, the more bitter it is. So with this one, the thing about the new cashmere hops that they included in this is that it has a much lower alpha acid content. It's got like an 8, something like that, right? Which when they brew it, it's going to cause the bitterness to be a much lower than the rest of them. So my guess is that they brewed this with just the cashmere hops to get that low IBU that I talked about. So it's easier to drink, juicier, and all those great things that everyone loves about juicies and hazies. And then they dry hopped it with the Simcoes and the Mosaics to get that extra kick of flavor and aroma in there. So that's my guess. I know it's dry hopped because it's a juicy, and it's got a lower count. And if they use those other two, the Mosaic and the Simcoes, they'd have a much higher bitterness content in there. So that's it. That's for today. And I haven't tasted this yet, so I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I hope you bring that to every episode. All of that information. There's a lot of different beers we're going to go over.
Oh, there is going to be. I know.
I went over them 2 weeks ago, and we're going to have some dippas. We're going to have a lot of sours, 5 sours, 5 stouts, 3 New Englands, 2 West Coasts, 1 wheat ale, 3 dippas. 1 spiced ale, 1 barley wine, 1 Kolsch, 1 pale ale, 1 amber ale, and that's it.
Yeah, good variety.
It's gonna be off the chains.
Good variety. Lots of sours and stouts this year. That's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a great year. It's gonna be fun. Happy to be with you guys. Let's give this a try. All right.
Give it a try.
I'll give it a try.
You do your tastes, and I'll start talking about the beer. Yeah, a lot of what he said carries through this beer. I don't know that I agree that it's in the 30s on IBUs. I don't think there's any objective way to do that. I'm not sure. Maybe they have a measurement tool. I have to look into that. But I think it's a little higher, probably 40s, 50s. Might be approaching, probably 50s, I'd say. I think our truth is probably 60 or 70. Like a regular standard IPA is probably about 70. This has a little bit more bitterness to it than a lot of these New Englands that Scott had mentioned, or SFIL, Chuggalo SFIL. Which now I guess you're not a Chuggalo when you're on the show. You're just SFIL. I don't know. You're still a Chuggalo. We all are.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the New Englands tend to elicit that juiciness that we always talk about on the show, and that Cobra used to hate the word juicy, but it does. It makes you salivate, and as you get more bitter, it feels drier, and that's typically true. This New England is kind of a nice balance between a more bitter style of IPA, not bitter. It's not overly bitter. I don't want to give that impression. But it also does have that salivating juiciness that you'd get out of a New England IPA. Obviously hazy, look at that. I mean, we could see it even in the brown bottle when it was still in the bottle. It's pretty hazy. A lot of I think what you get more earthy and more piney as you get towards the West Coast, which are like, you're very, very bitter IPAs. This one has a little bit of that, which I think that's what's contributing to the bitterness, is that you typically get more of the citrus, more of the floral stuff in the New Englands. Yep. This one's got a lot more pininess in it, a little bit more earthiness, and that's interesting. The mixture of hops is probably the contributing factor. North High is very good at making distinct IPAs, because it's hard when you make a lot of IPAs to separate them from each other. But I think North High is pretty good at it. Out of Columbus also, I didn't mention. I think I forgot to mention that they also. This is a 6%.
Yes, 6. Yep.
Okay, so Untapped has this as a 41 IBU. which is weird. So
that
there's
sounds a lot
some,
closer.
Yeah, it sounds closer. So there's obviously some,
Yeah.
Variation in the sources that you find.
Yep.
I'll have to go. Maybe we'll go to North High's website and see what they say. And is that where you found it?
That's where I found it.
So they're saying it's in the 30s. So
yeah, it's not in the 30s.
I agree there. It's a little bit higher. But argument with North High aside, this is a pretty good New England IPA. I think what I consider like the absolute best New England IPA, in my opinion, if you execute perfectly, it should be the perfect entry point for a non-craft beer drinker to drink an IPA, because it doesn't have that bitterness. This does not fall in that category. This would not be well liked, I think, by the non-craft beer drinker, and we might see some of that because my brother-in-law and nephew are going to have their own reviews of this. They got an advent calendar as well, and so my nephew Frank does not drink IPA, so we'll see how he feels about this being entry level. But I think that this is a beer connoisseur's New England. It's definitely delicious. North High delivers. Great brewery too. We should head over there sometime in Columbus. I'll save my score. You can talk a little bit about it if you want. And can art, the scan here did not work. It led to an error out page. So no can art boner segment, but this QR code didn't work.
Mine says slurrin on it.
Slurrin.
Yep, the word is pink, and it looks like it's sitting on a big piece of bubble gum that somebody spit out.
There we go, right there.
It kind of looks juicy itself. Slurrin, is it slurrin?
Slurm is the pop, the Mountain Dew, or the Surge from the show Futurama. Slurm, and they had like all these commercials. I'm pretty sure it's either Futurama. Yeah, I think it's Futurama.
Wow, there's some trivia.
Slurm. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that I even knew that. Let me check myself.
That's while pretty you dang good,
talk
John.
about the beer. I'll check to make sure I'm right.
All right, first of all, I have to say, fully in agreement with John on a number of things. First of all, my first taste was surprising to me because I was expecting low bitterness, and it is definitely not that. Not the highest. It's not like a Sierra Nevada, but it is definitely not 32 on the IBU scale. It tastes like a fairly traditional IPA in that respect. Did I say Futurama? Yeah. Yeah, Futurama. It was.
Yeah.
Good on
It's also good some call. Sort of programming thing with Unix, but I didn't read
Slurm,
it.
I never heard of it.
Didn't read it, so anyway.
Anyway, so yeah, super, super hazy. Definitely more pale yellow color than what you'd normally be used to seeing in an IPA. Even in a hazy, I think it's pretty yellow. It looks almost like a Hefeweizen yellow, like a real pale straw colored.
It is, yeah. It's a little transparent. It's more. Yeah.
Maybe it's because we got it out of the barrel. Maybe because it was poured. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe.
You never know. If it's poured down towards the bottom of the barrel, you're going to get more haze.
Yeah.
So you never know. So if any of you other chuggalos chime in, let us know if yours is this hazy. It's super opaque. You can't see through it at all. I gave it a little shot in the nose, and there's some definite fruit in there, no question about that. But John's also right. There's definitely that kind of piney, dank West Coast characteristic to it a little bit. Earthiness, thank you. Herbaceousness, maybe.
Herbaceousness.
Which is, I think, Simcoe. So I stand corrected. My guess was not correct. I think they probably brewed with Simcoe at least, and that's probably why the bitterness is up too, because the Simcoe hops are up. But anyway, I do smell grapefruit right off the top, and then when I'm tasting it, I taste this interesting mix of citrus. Besides the grapefruit, I taste some lemon, a little orange. A little lime, possibly lemon, and that's another thing I get asked a lot. Is it juicy because they put juice in there? Do they add juice to it? And they don't. Now, juice, when you add fruit to something, that's typically called a fruit tart or a tart versus a juicy. Juicy just means, salivating juicy.
We've had fruited IPAs, we've had tart IPAs, we've had sour IPAs.
Yeah, sour IPAs, yeah. Sours will have some fruit in there too.
For sure, sours, yeah.
So, But that's what I'm tasting. So I am getting that, and there's a underlying taste in there as well that I'm not used to tasting, which is kind of hard to describe. Smell. It's almost like a. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I'm not used to that with a. I'm not used to it. I got to figure out what that is. I'm not used to drinking that in an IPA, or at least a hazy.
I didn't taste anything different. But maybe there's something in there.
A solid beer, no question about it. I like North High stuff. This is a good example. But I would agree with you. Like John said, this is not like a beginner's hazy or a beginner's New England. I think it's more sophisticated. It's kind of like a hybrid to me. It's just like kind of a hybrid.
Well, you got to score. You know what you're going to score it?
Go for it.
I'm giving this beer a 3.75. I think it's I love a great New England. I would drink this again. It's hard, it's hard to give this beer higher for me personally, just because it's an IPA. It's a New England IPA, and there's so many of them that, like, if I went higher, it would be like, what happens when I have a New England IPA that really knocks my socks off? So, and it's a standard category. When you have a standard category and you don't add, a 3.75 is basically like, the A level for a New England IPA. It means you've done something good. Yeah. To get into the 4s, it's got to be different. There's got to be something in there. Yeah. That's my opinion. That doesn't mean that's your opinion.
Nope. I don't know if this is legal or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because I'm SFIL. Damn it. I am Gumby.
Give it a 6.
No,
off the record.
No, it's not that good. I'd agree with you. It's not a 4. I can't give it a 4 in good conscience. But it's just slightly under a 4. I think there's this finish on it. There's this aftertaste on it that's not. It's not unpleasant, but it's not expected, and I think it takes away from it a little bit. I would give it a 3.9.
3.9.
3.9.
Wow, that's not even a score we give.
I know.
That's awesome.
But it's between a 3.75 and a 4. It's not quite a 4.
He's giving it a 3.9. He's going on the point.
I'm going on a limb here, so Chuggles, give me some feedback here.
Hey, that's
positive
fine.
or negative.
Do whatever. Yeah, that's cool, man. I like it. He's giving it a 3.9. Our first 3.9 ever.
Is that right? First 3.9 ever.
First 3.9 ever. Yeah, because our scale is on 0.25 increments.
I like it. I mean, I really like it. I would certainly drink it again. And like John said, I agree with him. I'll even admit, I have in years past, like last year, I think I graded a lot over 4. And some, I can't say they weren't deserved because I gave it the score, but I don't want to fall prone to grade inflation either. So
grade inflation, yeah.
We got a long ways to go here, and I bet you we're going to be drinking some incredible beers. We got a lot of IPAs in front of us too.
If I could remind you of how I view the scale, so we got 0 through 5, right?
Yep.
2.5 in my Matt his like 3.5, 3.25, or even 3.0 is like his middle. My middle's 2.5. Anything under 2.5 starts to be hard to finish.
Yeah.
Once you get into the 1s, it's drain pour. I'm pouring it. And anything under 1, I'm not even taking another sip. So it's kind of like this scale like that. Well, above 2.5, how do you figure out where things are? Well, the 3 to 4 range, those are going to be like you did this style right.
Yeah.
Kind of beers. That's the score that you give, like, you did this right, the Kolsch, the Pilsner, the IPAs, the ones that you find a lot in common with every other brewery. There's really hard to separate the good from the great and the good from the bad. But you did the style right. So that's the 3 to 4. Anything above 4 is like, holy shit, I need to go buy this beer.
Yeah.
That's basically my scale. Yeah. So my middle's 2.5. Matt's middle's around 3.0. You can have yours wherever you want it. But yeah, if that's a good reminder for
that's people. A great reminder for everybody, for me included, and and I appreciate that, and I agree with that. I would say I'd add one more level in there, which I think I just alluded to a little bit, which is would I drink this again? And the would I drink it again is got to be 3.5 or above to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 3.5 or above.
Maybe 3.25, but there's a lot of beers in that category.
Well,
right?
it's an interesting conversation because I would drink this beer again.
Yeah.
But I won't
lift up your glass.
But I won't buy it again.
He finished it
because I've had it already.
Yeah,
so there's most beers that I have. If it's above a 4, I'd order it again, even if I've had it.
Yeah, that's good.
A lot of beers, I try to drink as many new beers as possible, so I can get into the thousands, like some of the elite people who drink all this beer.
You're getting close.
I'm in the thousands for sure. I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't keep track of them.
I have no idea.
I should keep track of them, but I don't.
Well, how many podcasts have you had?
We just crossed 600 beers on the podcast. 600. So, I've definitely had more than 400 beers.
That's awesome.
Off the podcast.
Everyone, congratulations to JT and Matt.
Yeah,
that's quite an accomplishment. They've been doing this a long time, and they're doing
quite
an
accomplishment to have drank 600 unique beers.
That's true. That's great. Yeah. That's cool.
It's cool. It's a cool fact.
It is. It's a lot more beers than I've drank.
And not just drank them, but really thought about them and put effort into describing them. That's the hard part.
That's
you
awesome.
can drink a beer all day, but you got to describe it. But yeah, so drinking it again, sure, I'd drink this again. But would I buy it again if I was there? No, I'd get a different North High beer.
Yeah.
Because I want to try them all.
That's a great distinction.
I like that. But after 4, I'd be like, I'm at North High, I'm going to start with this beer because I know it's great.
So that's a great distinction. So my 3.9, that helps confirm and solidify my 3.9 because I would drink it again.
If you go to North High, you're going to order this beer.
But
if you go to Barrel House, you're going to order this beer.
But I may not buy it again.
Oh, okay.
Because the 3.9 isn't quite there.
So 4 is I'm going to buy this again if I've had it.
I would buy it again. 3.5 is I would drink it again.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. But you're right. That's the
I
same.
get what you're saying. So if I buy you a beer and I bought you this, you'd drink it?
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Or heck yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you can say whatever. We say all kinds of stuff.
I know. I have too. I'm trying to clean it up.
Well, we got a lot of episodes to do. We got 24 to do. We got 23 more after this one. Any predictions?
I think it's going to be a phenomenal year. It was.
I think it's going to be a great year.
When we were there at Barrel House for the kickoff, John and Matt have been gracious enough to ask me to help sequence the beers so they're in the sequence that they are. I sat there while we were there still that day and sort of picked through them. I try to give us a good variety day to day so we're not drinking, 2 of the same thing or 3 of the same things, days in a row kind of a thing. So that they're spread out a little bit and also kind of put some variety around, based on labels that we know, what might be good, what we don't know, and kind of mix those up as well. So, but there sure sounds like there's a lot of great beers in there. I think we're going to have a really good year.
I think this might be one of the best years.
I think so. It's going to be a great year.
We got a 450 coming up. We got,
oh, yeah.
The last day is going to be a 450 Tripping Animals.
Yep, Tripping Animals.
That collaboration is going to be sweet.
We have 2 Tripping Animals in the lineup. We've got 2 North Highs in the lineup.
We got 2 North Highs. We got a couple, what's the one that's late in the I'll tell you. It's we got 2 in a row. Phase 3, 2 in a row.
Yeah, 2
Spicedale and a Dippa.
Yeah,
I got some Humble Forager.
They're different styles, but kind of a horizontal kind of a tasting.
Couple Hoof-Hearteds.
Hoof-Hearteds, that's right. Yeah, we got a couple of those.
Got a New England on that and a Dippa.
The Dippa, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a good mixture here. Tomorrow. We got the Mothership podcast, myself and Matt, so SFIL will have to be on his own that day. We have Southern Ohio, which is in, I think, Beaver Creek, or near it. Maybe Xenia.
I think so.
And so that'll be good. That's a stout. It's an American stout. That's another shorty.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for that. Matt and I will do that together. And SFIL's episode, I'm sure, will be full of facts and greatness. And then day 3 is going to be awesome. It's going to be excellent, some would say. Because it's 450 North. Excellent.
It is going to be excellent.
The beer is called Excellent. It's a pastry sour. That's going to be good. So that's what's on the docket for the next. And then we're right back to North High on day 4.
Yep.
So
you can see we're trying to mix it up a little bit more. We got a hazy, followed by a stout, followed by a sour, and then we're gonna mix it up throughout the whole.
I think here's podcast. One of my predictions. The most interesting beer that I think.
Oh yeah.
Typically, Anchorage is going to be a home run.
Oh yeah.
This year's Anchorage is a Kolsch. So then there's two things there. Kolsch's typically are forgettable episodes.
Yep.
Anchorage are usually memorable episodes. Anchorages are usually memorable. Kolsch's are usually, again, forgettable.
Yeah.
We're doing an Anchorage Kolsch. That's going to be an interesting episode.
It is. I am not a Kolsch fan. I'll be the
Me
first
neither.
to
I'm
say.
also not a Kolsch fan.
But I love Anchorage beers.
Oh, Anchorage is amazing.
We've had a lot of Anchorage beers, and I think I've liked every single Anchorage beer I've ever had. I can say that about Branch and Bone and a couple of others too, but it's nor in particular, for example. Yeah. But Anchorage, this will be really interesting. I didn't even know they made a Kolsch.
Breweries. So we typically put some of those breweries 450 North.
Yep, 450.
Tripping Animals.
Yep.
Branch and Bone, Nor in particular, Anchorage, we put them on their own scale. They don't get rated against all the other beers. Yeah. They get the Anchorage scale, the 450 North scale. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to have an Anchorage Kolsch. I think that's one prediction.
Oh, yeah.
That's definitely one prediction. The barley wine will be interesting.
Barley wine,
because it's not the beer we're doing as a group.
No. And the barley wine is I always have liked barley wines ever since I first started drinking. Let's see, the Sierra Nevada barley wine when I was just a young pup and a beginning brewer. I had that one, and it was called Old Foghorn, I think, right? Old Foghorn. I think it's called Old Foghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn.
And then we have another one in the lineup that's not categorized as a barley wine, but it's in that same alcoholic range. So there's
Fair State 10th anniversary. It's a tiny can.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
I don't remember.
10th anniversary. It's Imperial Stout.
Imperial. That might.
The barley wines from 2021.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps.
Yeah.
We got BCBS 2019. That's going to be high alcohol. That's Goose Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember which one it is offhand, but there'll be
maybe.
Two in there that'll be really good, really interesting.
Yeah, this will be good. I think there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to look forward to here. This is going to be a great year. Thanks to Barrel House for putting it together.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I think that bears mention too for anyone that's not been, someone that's been tuned into the past year or two of the Advent calendar. The Barrel House staff. They host us for our kickoff session, and they pick all the beers out. It's blind to us. We don't have any input into that. Yeah. We give them carte blanche to, hey, whatever you guys think are the best things that you guys are pouring right now, that's what we want on the Advent calendar. So we don't know what they're going to be until after they're picked, and they've all loaded up all the cases. So that's
a great reminder for those who don't listen to the normal week-to-week podcast, because we definitely went over that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right, Scott, that you don't listen. It's all right. We just
got busted.
We just busted him.
Sorry, Matt. I just got busted. I didn't listen.
It's all right. No. I'm just joking around. It's all good. It's it's a lot of shit to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to put a podcast in your rotation.
It's going to be great. It's
just when you're done with Joe Rogan, just throw us on. We're good, or whatever you listen to. It seems like everyone's listening to that these days. But that's it.
That's it. All right. Have fun, Chuggalos, and excited to be here and joining you all again, as always, in this. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Phil's back. Maybe 2025 will be the year he does his own thing.
I don't know.
We talked about it last year.
We did, and I never got around to it.
We got to do it. He's got to do a technical talk with Phil.
Technical talk with Phil. Been thinking about doing a wine thing with Stev's dad.
Oh yeah, wine with Stev's dad.
We never got that off the ground. It was a busy year for me.
That'd be cool.
I'd love to do that
for sure.
Definitely. And I saw him at Barrel House and said, I'm so sorry, man, but we got to get that going too.
We're gonna get it going. It's gonna happen.
It is gonna happen this year.
That's it. Advent Calendar 2024 Day 1. Drink Slurm. Bye.
Bye.